This painting was created by Leonardo da Vinci over 500 years ago, and hidden within it is one of the most vicious acts of revenge in art history. For 1,500 years before Leonardo, every artist who painted the Last Supper followed the same rule. Place Judas the betrayer alone on the opposite side of the table. Make him obvious, isolated, the villain everyone can see. Leonardo broke that rule. He hid Judas among the apostles, sitting right beside them, indistinguishable at first glance. And for months Leonardo struggled to decide what face to give him. What does a betrayer look like? How do you paint treachery without making it a caricature? Then, according to legend, he found his answer. The prior of the monastery where Leonardo was painting, a man named Vincenzo Bandello, had been complaining constantly. The work was taking too long. Leonardo was wasting time. The prior demanded efficiency, results, speed, but Leonardo refused to be rushed. His process was meticulous, obsessive, impossible to hurry, and so, in a moment of calculated revenge, Leonardo painted the prior's face as Judas Iscariot. The man demanding the painting became the betrayer in the painting. But here's the question. Is this story true? And if it is, what does it reveal about Leonardo da Vinci? Not just as an artist, but as a man willing to embed his personal grudges into one of the most important religious paintings in history? The year was 1495. Leonardo da Vinci, at 43 years old, received one of the most prestigious commissions of his career. Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan, wanted him to paint the Last Supper on the north wall of the refectory, the dining hall of the monastery of Santa Maria delle Grazie. This wasn't just any wall, it was a space where monks gathered daily to eat, to pray, to reflect. The painting would become part of their lives, a constant presence during meals. And Ludovico wanted something extraordinary, something that would make this monastery unforgettable. Leonardo accepted. But from the beginning, his approach clashed with the expectations of the monastery's prior. Vincenzo Bandello was a man of order, discipline, routine. He expected Leonardo to work like the fresco painters who came before him, systematically, efficiently, covering the wall section by section without hesitation. Leonardo didn't work that way. He would arrive at the monastery early in the morning, climb the scaffolding, and stand in front of the wall for hours, staring, thinking, making a single brushstroke, then stepping back to observe. Sometimes he would paint furiously for days. Other times, he would disappear entirely, returning only when inspiration struck. This infuriated the prior. He began complaining to the Duke. Leonardo was lazy, undisciplined. The project was dragging on far too long. Why couldn't he just finish it? Leonardo in turn complained about the prior's constant interruptions, his inability to understand that genius cannot be forced, that art cannot be rushed like carpentry or masonry. The tension between them grew. And then, if the legend is true, Leonardo made his move. He painted the prior's face as Judas Iscariot. Whether this legend is absolutely true or embellished over time, it captures something essential about Leonardo. He was defiant, uncompromising, and willing to turn his art into a weapon. But here's what makes this painting true genius. Leonardo didn't just paint a face, he painted a moment. The single most devastating moment in Christian history, frozen in time with such psychological precision that 500 years later, you can still feel the shock rippling through that room. The scene captures the instant after Christ speaks. "One of you will betray me," and in that instant everything explodes. He divided the 12 apostles into 4 groups of 3. Each group erupts differently, 13 men, 13 different reactions to the same 4 words. On the far left, Bartholomew launches from his seat, hands slamming against the table, face twisted in shock. Beside him, James the Greater throws his arms wide, denial screaming from every muscle. Andrew's hands shoot up, palms out. "Not me, it cannot be me." Next to them, the drama intensifies. Peter lunges forward, knife already in hand, face contorted with rage and protectiveness. He's whispering urgently to John, who sits beside Jesus, pale, devastated, body tilting like he's about to faint, and squeezed between them, Judas, face half in shadow, money bag clutched in his guilty hand. On Christ's right, Thomas's finger shoots upward, pointing, protesting. James the Less spreads his hands wide, gripping shoulders, trying to steady himself. Philip's hands press to his chest, face anguished, eyes pleading, "Lord, is it I?" Far right, Matthew, Thaddeus, and Simon turn on each other, hands gesturing wildly, bodies animated by urgent debate, processing, arguing, trying to make sense of the impossible. 13 men: shock, anger, grief, confusion, denial, doubt, fear. Leonardo captured the full spectrum of human emotion in a single frozen instant. And at the center of all this chaos, Christ sits alone, hands spread on the table. He's the only figure not moving, not reacting, a point of stillness in the storm. Now here's where Leonardo's genius moves from artistic vision into the realm of science. Every gesture in this painting is anatomically perfect. Leonardo had spent years conducting illegal dissections of human corpses. He understood muscles, tendons, how the body moves. Look at Peter's hand gripping that knife. You can see the exact tension in the tendons, the biomechanical accuracy. This isn't symbolic, this is science painted on a wall, but he didn't stop there. The room itself, the ceiling, the walls, the windows, all converge to a single vanishing point, located precisely at Christ's right temple. And here's the genius. Leonardo calculated the perspective so the painted room appears to be an extension of the actual refectory. When monks ate their meals in that hall, it felt like Christ and the apostles were sitting at the table with them. No other artist had ever done this. Leonardo wasn't just painting, he was conducting experiments in human perception. And now we come to the decision that defines Leonardo's genius and his recklessness. Traditional fresco technique, painting on wet plaster, was proven safe. Michelangelo used it for the Sistine Chapel, and those paintings have survived beautifully for over 500 years. But fresco had limitations. You couldn't work slowly, you couldn't make corrections, you couldn't achieve the soft, smoky transitions. So Leonardo invented his own technique. He sealed the wall, then painted with tempera in thin, delicate layers. It gave him complete control. He could create the precise atmospheric effects he wanted. It was brilliant and innovative, and it was doomed from the start. The problem? The refectory had a kitchen on the other side. Steam, heat, moisture constantly passing through. Leonardo's sealant couldn't withstand it. The paint began separating from the wall almost immediately. Within 20 years, visitors were noticing damage. Within 50 years, large sections had flaked off. By the mid-1500s, less than 60 years after completion, it was already described as a muddle of blots. Leonardo knew the risks, so why did he choose this technique? Because it was the only way to achieve what he saw in his mind, the only way to create the luminosity, the atmospheric depth, the psychological intimacy he wanted. Traditional fresco would have given him durability, but it wouldn't have given him truth. Leonardo chose 20 years of perfection over 500 years of compromise. He knew the painting would begin to die almost as soon as he finished it, and he made that choice consciously, deliberately. The Last Supper has been dying for over 500 years. Moisture has rotted it. Time has taken 80% of what Leonardo created. If you've ever stood in front of the Last Supper in Milan, if you felt that weight, that presence, even through the damage and the centuries, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. What did it feel like to be in that room? And for those who haven't been yet, maybe this is your sign to go. Thank you for watching.